Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. For those that are hopefully joining us on Facebook Live, we're going to wait for people to gather in. We're starting at 11 o'clock for PW 360. We have our guests that are on and ready to go. This is our installment of PW 360's Pull Up to the Table for February, and we are excited. So we hope that you are joining in. Come on in the room, Facebook Live, pull up to the table with your favorite cup of coffee, tea, juice, get your breakfast together, because we are going to have an awesome time today. So we are just waiting for our Facebook family to join us. If you have not seen the information for Zoom, you're welcome to join us on Zoom a little more closer in the room. So check us out on our Facebook page, which is PW360 Phenomenal Woman, and you will find the Zoom information if you want to join live with our guests. You can also check us out on Kingsway International. That is our parent association. So come on in. We're just waiting for a few more people to join Facebook Live. We're excited for everyone to join us today. There is so much to talk about. We have three excellent women that will be sharing their journey to fulfilling their purpose. You'll find a lot more about them and what we do for PW 360. So we have one more minute. This is our countdown. We're just, again, waiting for a few more people to sign in on Facebook Live. And again, if you want to join us on Zoom, our information is showing in our feed. It's also on our PW360 Facebook page, Instagram, as well as our Kingsway International page. But come on in the room, folks, because we have an exciting conversation for you today. My name is Tiffany Austin, and I am the co-founder of Kingsway International. And our purpose is to empower people and communities so that they can fulfill their purpose. And every single one of us have something that we were born to do. We just may not know what that is. And out of that, PW 360 was born. And for PW 360, we are here to celebrate women, their accomplishments, the things that we have gone through, because every woman on this planet has something to offer. And regardless where you come from, what your background is, what you've been through, it's just another piece of who you are, because we are 360 degrees of phenomenal womanhood. We have so much that we can give to other women. And so because of that, PW 360 is here to celebrate every woman that has something to offer. And as I said, we all do, you just may not know it yet. For all of you who are joining us on Facebook, we want to hear from you. Once you join the Zoom, you can use our chat functionality to ask us any questions. We will take any of your questions. Hopefully we will be able to say something that will spark excitement on the inside of you. And as I said before, when we're going on our journey, a lot of times we think we're so far away, but we're not always as far away as we may think we are. So when if you have any questions and you're on Facebook Live, by all means, put them in the chat, and we'll make sure that all of those questions get posed to our guests, and we get you what you need. So again, I thank you for pulling up to the table with us. And without further ado, I want to introduce to you right now two of the ladies that will be sharing their journey with you. We have Dr. Millicent Davis And she is a person that I've known for a little bit now. I'm excited to say that I know her. She is an entrepreneur, she's an instructor, she's a speaker, and she has been inspiring success for 20 plus years. I've been in many of her seminars, many of her workshops, and she is definitely a phenomenal woman. Um, she has a plethora, a plethora of services that she offers, but at her sole purpose really is to make sure that the people that she interacts with are able to fulfill their purpose, regardless of what that is. So I'm going to have her talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. But I want to introduce to you our next guest, which is Valerie Stansel. I've just recently met with her, and she is the founder of Purpose for Wellness, a holistic wellness center. And just reading and hearing a little bit about her story, I'm excited to hear her journey as well. Our third guest that will be joining us shortly is Miss Chrysal Pittman of Pittman Enterprises. She has a number of things that she is working towards as well. And so we'll be very excited when she's able to join. So ladies, thank you, thank you, thank you, as I said, for joining us today. The topic for today is finding your journey to purpose. And as I've shared on many of our other sessions, I took a personal journey, the earlier part of last year. And because of that, there were a lot of things that I found out about myself. There were some things that I didn't think were relevant, but they were. They really were relevant to where I am today. And honestly, birthing PW 360 came out of that, but it was the furthest thing from my mind. This was not on my to-do list of things to do, but I'm glad I said yes to this assignment. And so it has been fulfilling for me to hear all of the women that we have had on thus far. So I'm going to throw it over to you ladies so that they can hear more about you and talk about your journey and what you would like to share. So Millicent, if you want to go first.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you, Tiffany, for having me on your panel for PW 360. I was so honored to get the email request and to just see what you were doing. And you and your husband have always been a blessing to me and the people that are around us and our team. And so I was excited to see that this was now a part of your journey. So I'm very excited for what this is going to do. And when I saw that I was going to be on with Valerie, it just was just an awesome thing. And I'll let her tell her journey, but she's got an awesome journey to tell as well. But for me, I guess one of the questions that was asked was, did I always see myself as what I was doing now? And I have to say no. I never saw myself doing what I'm doing or what I did when I was working in government procurement, because that's where I retired after giving 30 years. I had to laugh because I never saw myself being a purchasing agent. I didn't even know what that was. So, and even now being an entrepreneur, I never saw myself doing it. I mean, yes, I saw the steps that the Lord was taking me through, getting my bachelor at an older age, getting my master's at an older age, and getting my doctorate at even an older age. I was like, what am I doing this for? And I never knew, but I was open to taking the pathway to that. So I feel that the is allowing God to have his way in your life, even with this and what you were saying about PW360. You didn't know what that journey was going to be for you, but you were open to letting God move you down that pathway. So in my book, Being a Visionary, Going After Your Vision, I write about knowing when the Holy Spirit speaks to you, having that pen and paper by you at that given time. For me, it was early in the morning. So I had to have that pen and paper by my bed because I felt like he was giving me the orders for the day, what I was going to should do. Because I know Valerie and I know you, I know myself. It wasn't easy. You never sometimes knew what you were doing. Sometimes the finances weren't there. Sometimes the people weren't there. Sometimes the contracts weren't there. But you kept going. I kept going. So you just have to be open and have your pen and paper ready to write down the goal and the visions for today.
Thank you.
Good
Valerie.
morning, and thank you, Tiffany, for inviting me to this panel. I am so honored to be part of this and to be part of something that I feel shares the same passion that I have for empowering women. And also, I cannot start this without giving a shout out to Millicent, because if it was not for Millicent, one of the questions that she said was, where do you find yourself? Is this where I would be now? No, I wouldn't be, because if it wasn't for Millicent helping me to get out of a bad decision that I made as a business owner, becoming a new business owner, I wouldn't be here today. So, as I said before, Millicent, thank you so much for helping me to get to the point that I am today. And do I think this is where I was supposed to be? No, this is not where I was supposed to be. This is not where I thought I would be. I thought I would be married, taking care of my husband. But unfortunately, in 2000, my husband was diagnosed with a rare lung disease called pulmonary arterial hypertension. And he was given a very short time to live. And working in healthcare for over 30 years, I wanted to find another way to help him to be able to have a better quality of life. So I started taking some classes in alternative medicine. And my husband passed away in 2014, which was 14 years that he lived, which was way longer than what the doctors had said. So it's not what the doctors say, it's what he says. So I wanted to continue to help people navigate through the health system, but without doing it all the Western way, because I worked in healthcare, I've seen all the contraindications, I've seen the things that were done to the Black and Brown people. And this, navigating through the healthcare system is really something that is very difficult to do. So I wanted to start a business, and I used the money from that my husband left me to start this business. And I've just been prospering ever since.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And as you said, our plans and even what other people may say, we can't rest our hope in that. Our hope has to lie in our Creator. And he knows everything about us. He knows where we're going to go. He knows what we need. And so although of course I didn't know your husband, I'm grateful that you have this part of your story to be able to tell. So I appreciate that. So Miss, and we're definitely going to get a little bit more into everybody's stories, but last and definitely not least, Miss Chrysal Pittman, if you can just share a little bit about you. And they've really been addressing the first question is, did you see yourself doing what you're doing right now?
Hello, everyone. I am excited to be here with you ladies on today. And the question is, did I see myself doing what I'm doing now? Absolutely not. No way that anyone could have told me that the many things that God has allowed me to be able to accomplish and achieve that I would be doing today. Um, I had no idea, for one, and the most interesting part is I'm married. Will be coming up on 28 years in July. And growing up, I didn't want to be married. I just wanted to have twins, and that was okay. I just wanted to have my twins, and they can be with their daddy and be with mommy, but I did not want to get married. And so, and being in ministry, I never thought that I would be in ministry. Alongside with my husband, Mark Pittman, in ministry. Um, I had no idea that a lot of the things that I'm currently doing that I did not see myself doing.
And so for most, Chrysal and I, we have a 30 plus year friendship relationship. And so we met each other on the other side of ministry. So it's a blessing to be able to say, just like, Millicent and Valerie, you guys were able to connect, and through your connection, you journeyed together. I will say, Chrysal and I, we journeyed together too, in a different way initially, but we ended up in the same place, which is serving God, serving people. I didn't give you the formal introduction, but she has Covenant Marriage Ministry, which is a marriage ministry, of course. She does a little bit of travel agency. She's an author as well. So that's a little bit about Chrysal Pittman. So, all right, ladies, so let's get to it. I will share with you guys, a little bit in regards to not just my ministry journey. So I am a minister as well. But the one thing that surprised me on my journey as well was how much my corporate background played into me being more equipped even in ministry. So I was at a job for 23 years. And so that piece of my journey, God was in as well. And I say that because there was a pivotal point in my employment where I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. I don't want to be here anymore. And so at that very moment, I got offered to be in this management training program, which ultimately shot me to a 1.5-year stay in Connecticut. I am married, so I'm grateful that my husband was on board with that. But coming back and forth, I had a 1.5-year, a journey of living in Connecticut, like literally living in Connecticut. And so, but I got the chance to work in many different departments. And then the very last department that I ended up working in actually supported the departments that I trained in for that 1.5 years. And so it was pretty much a multi-billion-dollar company that I was working for. And so I remember having a conversation with God because it was in risk management. And I remember having a conversation with God about, okay, why am I even here? Like, why am I here? And little by little, I would see the pieces of the puzzle that I would ultimately be using in what I'm doing now. So I did not see myself being there for 23 years, but I recently retired from there so that I could do this. And so it was all of those little components that went into my journey. So tell us a little bit about you and what are some of the pieces that went into your journey and the journey that you may still be going on. And I'll whichever one of you ladies want to start.
I'll start. Like I said, my journey began in 2000 when my husband was diagnosed with this rare lung disease. Working in healthcare, of course, I heard of it, but I didn't know the magnitude of the disease. And as I stated, he was given 2.5 to 3 years to live. And I can recall going to this doctor that was in the hospital, one of the top hospitals I worked in, and I was told he was going to help us. And when we went into the doctor's office, and they didn't take us into a room and took us into his office, never asked us to change clothes or anything, I knew that this was not good. They informed me that my husband had pulmonary arterial hypertension, which is like high blood pressure in your lungs. That affects the right side of your heart, and your right side of your heart goes into heart failure, and you eventually pass away from it. So they told me that's what he had, and he needed a bilateral lung transplant. So I didn't know what to do. I just packed him up and took him back in the car and went on about my way, trying to, be the wife and, to go to work. I had a business at that time. So I was trying to do all that within this time. And he progressively got worse. And during this time, I was always asking God, why are you allowing this to happen? What did we do? We pray, we tithe, we serve, we do everything we're supposed to do. Why did you let this happen to us? So throughout all of that journey, I continued to work. And as I seen his health deteriorating with the Western medicine, knowing that there was something more, I knew that God had something for us. And God has given us something, but we don't tap into the other things, the alternative medicine, because it is just that. It is alternative medicine. And it's the unfamiliar world to us, because we're used to doctors telling us what to do and, prescribing this medication and having this type of procedure, where an alternative medicine is supplements and changing your food and your lifestyle. And I want to say that helped my husband to live for 14 years, but in the end, it was God. My prayers to God when my husband would pass out randomly and frequently, and asking God to please not take him. I'm not ready. What can you do to keep him here? And he answered that prayer for me. They said 2.5 to 3 years, but he said no, 14 years. And I recall one time he passed out and I had talked to God. I said, we're not doing this passing out anymore. I'm tired of this. So he passed out, and I was upset about it. But for 1 minute I got up, I was like, God, didn't we talk about this? Didn't I tell you I didn't want to do this anymore? And then I remembered, who I was talking to, and I went back and did what I was supposed to do. But in all of that, I say all of that to say this. My whys and my how comes and my what ifs have brought me to this place where I am right now as an entrepreneur, as a best-selling book author, a health and wellness advocate, a domestic violence advocate, a speaker, an educator, a domestic violence survivor. And I am so in awe of God that he allowed all that to happen to me. Because when that's happening to you, you don't understand why. But when you look back and you see where you are right now, that God was with you all that time. And this was his plan. This was his plan for me. So I am so ever grateful. I never thought that I would say that, because I was mad at God for 4 years. I went to church every Sunday, sat there with my arms folded because I went to church on Sunday. That's what you do. But I can look back and say, yes, this was part of his plan for me. This is where I am supposed to be right now. So I thank you for having me. And I thank you, Lord, for keeping me and bringing me to this place.
That is awesome. Go ahead.
I'm just in awe. I'm just, so excited to see where she is in her journey right now and to speak about it, and I agree, I if God shows you everything along the journey, I don't think we would go. I know for me, that was the thing. I knew, you know, he didn't show me, when I left my job in 2015, my husband and I was going to move to Michigan. We had bought property from my parents in Michigan. They have a beachfront property that they brought when my daughter, who's now 42, she was 3 months on my mom's hip. They bought that. And my parents lived there too. They couldn't afford to live, not couldn't afford, but couldn't live there for health reasons by themselves anymore. So they moved to New Orleans with my sister, and my husband and I bought that property to start a bed and breakfast. And the goal was, because there were 3 houses on that land, we were going to bring my parents back and let them live in one house. We would live in a house, and we would do the bed and breakfast in the other home. And I retired in March of 2015. Well, the Lord called my mom home in February of 2015. And I'm like, well, now what? The journey was I was gonna move there, bring my parents back so they could live in we still call it their home. and we were gonna run the bed and breakfast. So, but yet here I am still in New Jersey. And what kept us here was my daughter got pregnant with twins. And we wanted to be here for our grandchildren. So, and now we're here. And so, another question that Tiffany asked is what was our biggest challenge? So I think the biggest challenges for me, being a person who likes to serve and to help others, is, and now in my journey, which is now, is to deal with me. Over a year ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And it was a shock to all of us. I mean, I never, cancer, I kept saying, well, cancer doesn't run in our family. When I was seeing the little reports that were coming back after I would go for this test, and I would say to my daughter, they're talking about metastatic cancer. And she's like, well, Mom, let's just wait and get all the reporting. And I'm like, well, cancer doesn't run in our family. I know, well, what's going on here? And when it came to find out that this report was true, it threw me for a loop. It sent me into a place that I didn't want to be, in depression, and asking God why. Like, Valerie said, why us? We tithe, we do our work in the church, we do, but this was a journey that the Lord now was taking me down. So I think the biggest challenge for me is to allow me to see myself. And it's hard sometimes to really know yourself and to really know to deal with you. I thank God that my son, he left his job and came, and now he's running the business and learning to run the business. My husband and my daughter have taken a lot off my plate to allow me to just deal with me and what the journey that the Lord has me on. Do I have any regrets about it? I don't, and when I saw that, I looked up the word, the definition of regret, and it said feel sad, repentant, or disappointed over something that has happened or have been done, or a missed opportunity. And I don't feel that I've missed an opportunity. I feel that the opportunities that God has placed in me, I ran with them to the fullest. The business is doing great. It is bringing in, it's a profitable business. It's doing exactly what it's meant to do, to help others. And it will run, I had to learn it will run without me. So now take some time for you. be on PW 360, write that book, write that workbook, do those things that the Lord has you to do. So that's, where I'm at in my journey and what I'm doing with my
That's awesome. That is awesome.
life.
Okay, wow, that's some awesome testimonies from you, beautiful women of God. So my journey actually started back in, I want to say 2000, and between the 2011 and 2012, I was working, no, actually 2010, I was working for an organization and I was in management and I was running 3 branches. And I was the first one out of my house. I was the last one back in my house. But I have like I said, I have an amazing husband, children, and they were kind of, still kind of young and coming up and all of that. But everything was work, like just working. So when I wasn't working on my secular job, I was working in the church, in ministry. Not to the point but serving in ministry. And so everything was just work. But I knew that there were other things that I was called to do that I failed to do because I was pushing all of my energy into just going to work Monday through Friday. And then Sunday, getting up, going to church, and then back all over again. That was it. That was my life. And so back in 2011, I got sick at work. Okay. I remember waking up with a headache, the headache I've never experienced in my life. But I still went on to work. I went to each one of my branches. And then after I went there, we had a regional manager meeting. So I drove to our main office in Northeast Philadelphia. And on my way to driving, I remember the sun being so bright that late morning that it hurt my eyes to drive. Like I could barely see. But I still kept on driving. By the time I got to the location and right before the meeting, I remember coming in and I sat down and my regional manager, she looked at me and she was like, "Chrysal, are you okay?" And I was like, I said, "Yes, I just got a headache, but I didn't eat anything. Maybe I just need to eat something." So I remember her grabbing me a sandwich and we were preparing to have this meeting. But while I'm sitting there, it literally felt like an out of body experience. Like I felt like my life was being sucked out of me. And the room started spinning. And the last thing I remember saying to my regional manager I said, "Call my husband." That's all I remember. That later on, when I finally woke up, I was in an emergency room. And at the time, my pastor was standing over me and my husband was standing over me. And I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, what is going on? And where am I? And what is all of this? And so they begin to, tell me, what happened. And I remember even being after I got discharged and coming back home, my doctor, when I did my follow-up, my primary doctor would not release me. So every 2 weeks I had to do a follow-up and he just kept saying, "Nope, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're too stressed out." And I'm saying to myself, well, how am I stressed? I didn't think I was stressed, but he said, "Describe your day." So as I began to describe my day of what I did daily, he was like, he said, you're actually running on fumes. He said, it's a miracle that you're still alive. He said, because he said, you're eating, but you're grabbing this. He said, and you're just running, you're running. And I thought I was fine. I didn't think I was stressed out, but it was so interesting during that time, during those 3 times when he kept saying, "I think you need to just take some time off." I remember being at home and I got up that morning and I fixed breakfast for my family. And when they left, I broke down in tears because I realized at that moment it was years before I was able to sit down and fix breakfast for my family during the week, because Saturday was fine. Saturday was, but a Monday through Friday, fixing my family breakfast, and we're eating breakfast together. And then, so I remember when they couldn't get out fast enough. Like I was trying to literally throw my husband out the door because I can feel, that lump that's in the throat that you just keep fighting and holding. And I remember when I finally closed and locked the door, I stood at the door and I literally just fell to the floor and I just cried. Like I just cried and cried and cried. And the Lord began to show me at that time that although I was being busy, because we get so caught up in busyness, just being busy, but I was not fulfilling what the Lord had called me to do. I was just doing. And so when I began to just sit down and just take some time out to just meditate, and the Lord began to show me all of the things that I was missing, not just with my children, but like I'm talking real quality time with my husband, real quality time with my children, real quality time with the Savior. Like all of those things that I was missing and not allowing myself to, for God really, because we always say, oh, we doing things unto the glory of God. We want God to get the glory out of our lives. We say that all the time. That's just such a cliche for believers, right? But the thing was, like I said, I was being so busy that I was saying, yes, to God be the glory, and I want God to get the glory. But how was God getting the glory out of my life when I wasn't even doing anything? I wasn't even walking in his will. He was not even ordering my steps because I was running on the strength of Chrysal. I wasn't allowing God to be my strength. I wasn't allowing the Savior to cause me to move in the directions, and I wasn't following his instructions that he had for my life. So when long story short, I ended up not returning back to that job. I resigned, and I had been with that job for almost like 10 years. And so when I resigned, I had, established great rapport with the, CEO and, the membership. So when I left, you don't realize how impactful you are to a thing until you are removed from it. And I would see people and they would tell me, oh, I didn't know you were there. Like people literally were closing their accounts when they was like, oh, she not here. No, I'm not. And I was like, no, you don't want to do that. Like, this is a great organization. You don't want to do that. But it allowed me to see, even though I didn't realize how at that time, although I was doing so much, but that was my first place where I allowed it to be ministry for me. It granted me the opportunity to not only where I am today, because, in the financial arena, it helped me with numbers. It helped me to understand, insurances and financial literacy. All of those things played a major role in me being in this position. And then also, although I was running three branches, it opened up areas for administration. It opened up areas for organization. So the Lord was building me up in different areas as it related to ministry, but I didn't realize that that's what was going on. So ultimately, at some point, the goal was, okay, now I allowed you to be at this place, but now all the skills that you were able to acquire, I need you to utilize those same skills to work for the kingdom now. I need you to utilize those skills to be able to win souls for me, not so much for, getting my name out there. It was about allowing the Holy Spirit and allowing Jesus' name to be great, not Chrysal Pittman's name to be great. So, I like I said, I left that job, and then God began to do with my husband and I, and then, then the covenant marriage movement, that ministry came forth. And then being home, it allowed me time to sit and write, because I'm a writer, a playwright, I'm an author, and, just taking the time out to really hone in on the things that I was supposed to really be doing. And so First Fruit Productions was birthed. And then, so that kind of, moved on. We did a couple of skits. We did the play. And then it was like, okay, but that there's still more. It's like, Tiffany was saying, it was just other pieces that was kind of bringing the puzzle together. And like now today, we have Pittman Global Enterprises, and that's the main focal for my husband and I and the family business. But under those entities, like I said, it's Covenant Marriage Movement. We have a travel company, Pittman Global Travel. We have SAFE, which is a new ministry, Sisters Anointed for Empowerment, that the Lord birthed on last year on a girls' trip. And so all of those things, it just still kind of plays into part of the journey that I am still currently on. And I'm still daily learning more and more about myself, and learning more about who Jesus really is, and who, not only who he is to me, but now being able to like really see the manifestation of those promises that was spoken over my life from my mother and my auntie and my grandmother, and those prophetic words that were spoken of, but now literally starting to see the manifestation of those promises that God said would be, and now they are. So like I said, I never thought that I would be doing half the things that I'm doing, but I tell you, God is so faithful, and we're here, and ultimately at the end of the day, it is really still all for his glory. So now I can say it and really mean that it's for the glory of God, because back then it was cliche, like, yeah, to God be the glory. We say that, to God be the glory. But now I can say, yes, to God be the glory. Yes.
Yeah. I'm grateful to have been able to witness and see and partake in a lot of that. And so I can attest to, yeah. and seeing God manifest a lot. And for you ladies, I'm just in awe of everything that you have gone through, that we have all gone through. And so if nothing else, it should encourage another woman, regardless of where you are in your journey, to know that there may be I don't want to call them stops, but they're maybe rest stops, or maybe little places in your life where you have to sit back and you have to take a moment's rest, but it's still a part of your journey. Even the mistakes, even the why. God is not intimidated by our why. He is not intimidated by us asking, why me? Because he knows us, right? So he knows each and every person. And I would say it was interesting as you ladies were sharing when your journey began. And I'm gonna say this just before I go on. If you have questions, please put them in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get to your questions. If there's for an individual person or just in general, please put your questions rather in the comments. So I will say, for all of us, we know that God knows the plans for our lives, and he knew where we were supposed to end up when we were first born, right? Or before we were even born. And so, for Valerie, even that moment of despair that you may have been feeling, God built you for that. You know, God built you, Millicent, for where you are right now. God built you, Chrysal, for all of the things that you've had to go through. God, and I had to realize that God built me for the things that I had to go through as well. And what seemed insignificant and didn't seem as though it was a piece of the puzzle, was definitely a part of the piece of the puzzle. Because if we don't go through it, then we're not tested in it. We have to be tested in the place that God is building us for. And so, so where your journey, you may feel like your journey started in 2011, or we put a date on when our journey began. Sometimes it's really, that date is the moment where we realized that there was phase 2 about to happen. So there was the building up phase that we weren't even aware of, because as Chris was sharing her, as Chris was sharing hers, as far as the working. Part of the thing that I realized on my journey that I started last year was that I am really good at support and helping other people get to where they were, but I never took that moment to really recognize that, hey girl, you got something to offer too. And then, that was to me like, hey girl, you have something to offer. And it's because of all of the things that you went through years and years and years ago. And I know Millicent, I think it was Millicent, when you said you didn't have any regrets. And I think I use the word regrets because that's kind of the word that, kind of puts us in that mindset of what opportunities that we miss. I'll say, is there any opportunity, or is there any moment that you knew that you should have taken hold of? And it doesn't mean that you didn't ultimately take a hold of it, but you didn't take a hold of at the time. And not taking it, you learn something more about yourself, or in not taking it, did it push you harder? Like, is there an opportunity that you think that you missed that you wish you had have taken? I ask you, Valerie.
I can't really say that I feel as though I missed anything, because I believe that this is what God had for me. No matter where I thought I should be, where Valerie thought she should be, this was all part of the plan. My husband and I always stood on Jeremiah 29:11, and I continue to stand on that today. All that happened to me was for purpose, and when you're in it, you can't see it. And I feel as though what I went through will help someone else get through. Because when I had these issues going on with me, I guess the regret that I could have now, I can think of a regret that I didn't have anyone to walk with me, to walk with me. And, we're so used to these cliches, like, pray about it and do this and do that. When you're going through, I know the scripture, I could tell you every healing prayer, every prayer that supplies your need, everything that like that. But there was no one there to walk with me, to just listen to me, to just hold my hand. So that's why I am so adamant and so passionate about what I do to help walk another woman through what I've been through. And that is why I have no regrets, really, except for the, being in it alone, because my husband couldn't help me. My family was busy, because I mean, in all of this, I mean, I ended up doing my husband's dialysis at home. And I don't mean PD, I mean like intravenous, IV, arterial, working. I worked an hour away. I had a business. So it was all for purpose. And I have no regrets. I am so happy to be doing what I'm doing and being able to have the ability to help another woman walk through it, and that's my purpose. I'm here to empower, to equip, inspire, and educate another woman where she feels as though she has no hope. She had, everything she has is lost. it isn't, it's for purpose. God has a purpose in all of this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I 150% agree with you that, we have to help each other along where we are. And, I did have, my sister Chrysal, I did have, some people, but a lot of times you aren't, if you're walking with a person that's in the same place. And so I will say, Crystal and I were kind of in that same place, in that same vein. So we're trying to figure this thing out. But there are moments where you do feel like you're by yourself and you don't know who to turn to. And so again, this is why we are here. There are many ministries and services and platforms that are out there. And I believe if I can, bring you on to share, your story with someone else, then they will see themselves in each and every one of you and be able to see that they aren't alone. Yep, she's going through what I'm going through. Oh, there is somebody else out there that understands, and they've gotten to the next stage in their life. They've gotten over that hump. And so I appreciate you saying that. I asked that question because there are people that need to know that, yeah, you're going to have stumbles along the way or delays of what we may think are delays along the way. But ultimately, I need to meet up with a Valerie or a Millicent or a Chrysal in order to know that I'm not by myself. That this is PW360 is a ministry to encourage and empower other women. And people will watch this, and that's what we've seen over the course of these. People have watched them after the fact and shared their appreciation of the information that you ladies share, of all of our guests that have come on. Millicent, is there anything else that you wanted to share with folks?
I just want to say I do agree with Valerie that, you definitely, like you said, want to have someone that you can, it's all for a purpose. And even if the purpose is to share, that's great. I think one of the things that I've learned about me, it's okay, again, to take care of me. It's okay to help others, desire to help others. When I first, started going through the process of trying to process, having a stage 4 cancer, I started a blog called Taking Control of Your Destiny. And that was going to be a blog about me and my journey through this whole now process of what I'm going through now. But it's turned out to be something totally different, where we highlight people, men and women, who are about taking control of their destiny, doing that thing, doing what the Lord has told them to do, taking control and getting it done. And I do share about some of the things that I'm going through, but it kind of went totally around to serving others. So as much as I want to get away, try to get away from it, it's me. It's part of
It's
me.
you.
It's part of me and my journey of me, I guess, that I'm going to help others. One of the other things you asked was one of my proudest moments. And I think for me was when my daughter gave me 4 grandchildren, the twins, and then she went on to have a boy and a girl. And they just keep me alive. I want to see their children and see them as adults, and they're all, they don't mind being around grandma. And I couldn't wait to, people go, what are you going to be called? I'm like, I'm grandma, and that's what it is. I'm grandma, and I'm enjoying that life. I'm here, I'm enjoying my grandchildren, what they're doing, and everything about it. And that is probably the proudest moment of my life, that everything I went through, with marriage, job, entrepreneurship, getting through college, it was all for this moment of watching my grandchildren grow and prosper. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. And I hope that, people can understand that, you might be in a tough place in what you think is for you, but that tough place is going to make you stronger for what else is out there for you.
So that being said, we did get a question. So I'm sure each of us, each of you have experienced what we might say was a failure. It didn't quite go the way we thought it was going to go. Although it was hopefully a learning experience. Is there anything that you experienced that might have kept you from going forward? That was the question. Is there any discouragement that's kept you from going forward?
Well, I have the mic on. I will say, yes, there are times where you get discouraged. I was wondering, why am I going through getting my master's, doctorate, and all of this at an older age? What is that going to benefit me? And I was very discouraged and didn't know what I was going to do. Or, I'm 63. I'm getting cancer now. I feel like this is supposed to be my slide through years, that I enjoy life and I do what I'm supposed to do. So yes, but those things will make you stronger. You have failures, but you learn from those failures. They're there for a reason. They're there to push you forward. They're there for you to have a testimony to push others forward. So yes, ask the Lord, why is he sending you through this time in your life where you feel that it may be a failure, but it really isn't. It really, really isn't. So I'll let someone else answer.
One of the things I wanted to say that I found a failure in my eyes was when you begin to do something, you start a business and you think that everyone is going to support you. People in your church, your family, and your friends, and they don't. And you see someone else doing the same thing you're doing and they're supporting them. And I had this aha moment at one of the services at my church. The pastor said, when God gave you your gift, he gave you your audience. It's not you, it's your audience. It was like a revelation to me, because I had to realize that I was trying to pursue people that weren't my audience. So that's where I felt the downfall of my business. Like I was going to stop my business because people weren't supporting me. I didn't feel as though I was prospering in the business. So I said, let's just stop the business. But when I heard that, I changed everything around. I changed my audience. I researched who my audience was, where my audience hung out, what my audience wanted to hear, and my business has begun to prosper. So that was a failure that I, put upon myself. But like he said, when God gave you your gift, he gave you your audience. You just have to realize who your audience is. So because of that, I wrote a book about that for people to change their audience, how to change your audience when you feel as though you're failing. So that was my revelation for failure.
Awesome.
Awesome. I would say failure. I think the one thing that I would say that I felt like I was a failure at would be when I did not finish the book. Although I am an author now, but the fact that I did not write the book and finish it when the Lord first brought it to me to do. So I beat myself up, for that. And I was angry with myself for many years because I felt like this was the book that was supposed to, make it or break it. And I did not do it. And the interesting part is that particular book still is not complete. But the great thing about that is I no longer look at it as a failure. I know that things are done in God's timing, and God was allowed to bring clarity for me in reference as it relates to that book. The reason why the book was not completed, because in my eyes, I was thinking that book was supposed to be, and it's a book on marriage, but I was, initially I set out for this book to be for couples, literally married couples. And I remember sharing this with a young lady, and then what she did was she kind of, I don't want to say she stole the idea, because, my thing is what God has for you is for you, right? So although she used what I told her to try to do, she just removed the husbands. It was just simply just the wives. And then she shifted it a little bit. But even with that being said, what was so interesting was, because I thought that the Lord was saying I was supposed to bring these couples together and we were supposed to write this book as couples. But ultimately, it was, no, my husband and I were supposed to write the book together. And it was going to be the blueprint for other couples. So when the Lord brought that clarity to me, and we're currently working on that now. But when he brought that clarity to me and kind of, gave me the revelation of it, I was like, wow. So now I can say, that's why I say, no, it's not a failure, because what I thought wasn't. A lot of times when, God tends to give us I call them peekaboo visionaries. Like he give us a peekaboo of what it looks like. He never gives us the end. It's like a part here and a part here and a part here. And then we try to put it together instead of seeking him for clarity, you know what I mean, and understanding. And we just like, no, this is what it's supposed to be. And then come to find like, no, Chrysal, I need you to have several seats, because that's not what I said. I did not tell you to do it that way. But that's what we do, right? So, but yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, God is so, he's such an awesome God. And the thing is, like I said, what I thought was a failure, it actually ended up bringing clarity. So, to God be the glory. Hopefully by the end of this year, that book will be completed with my husband and I, and we'll be able to
accountability now.
Yes, so absolutely. So yeah, that would be my answer to as far as my failure, or what I thought was a failure.
So you ladies are seriously dropping some inspirational nuggets. If nobody else is getting them, I'm getting them. Okay. So I just want to let you know that. I do have one comment from, I think this person was on Facebook. They said, you women are such an inspiration. Thank you for the confirmation for what I have been going through and where I am going. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that there are people who are watching and listening, and you are encouraging them. So you got two people at least, her and me. So have you found moments where it was difficult following the calling on your life? And I know I'm saying calling, and I want to clarify that just even for audience. So a lot of times people will put calling and attach a title to it, but calling is purpose. And so we all have a calling to do something, our purpose to do something. For any of you ladies, have you found it difficult to follow what you were purposed to do and what you're purposing to do? If you guys need to think about it, I'll yes. So for me, not so much in obedience because of God. And I think one of you may have said it, because of what other people will think or what other people will say. So I think that has probably been my challenge. The difficulty in me always pushing forward is getting other people out of my head. So, and that's really more minor than anything. It's just really a matter of getting back to what Chrysal said and you ladies said, of getting back to the focus is on God. The focus is on what did he say? So that's my 2 cents. Anybody?
I think for me, like Crystal was talking about, we're doing what we thought was to God be the glory, and it wasn't. It was to Millicent be the glory. And, I was number 3 in our church. So if they couldn't get the pastor, they would call me, and I was doing this and I was doing that. And, at my job doing, and wearing myself out to the point of where it had to be about me at this time in my life, going through this journey with cancer. It was hard to back off. Now, thank God for my family. They like, Mom, okay, church will be all right. You just you got to take care of you right now. Eugene, my son, is, going to be handling the business. You got to take care of you. So I think for me, that is kind of was the hardest thing, to know that things are they'll be all right without you. You go and over here and do you. Like I said, write the book, tell your story, and that's pretty hard. It took me a long time to let people know that I have cancer. I didn't, for some reason, that was hard to say, because then it made it real. And, so I guess for me, that's one of the hardest things that I had to do, is to deal with me. When I was in church, our pastor used to go, do the mirror test. Go stand in front of the mirror and see how long you can stand and look at yourself. How long can you stand yourself? And that's the hardest thing, to really look at yourself and see, what it is about you. It's easy helping others, it's easy, but when you really have to take a look at your life and see what, and like you, it's hard. It's really hard. Amen.
I had to unmute myself. Yes. Yeah. Part of taking that journey is beginning to like you, because God does. God does. Valerie, I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to share in it.
For me, it was, I guess pretty much what Millicent was saying. People tell you that you do things well, or you're this and you're that. And God would say, I've given you this gift. And people will say, God gave you this gift. I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. But coming to the point to believe in myself, to believe that God had equipped me to do all of this that I was supposed to do, that I had to get to the point where I could look in the mirror and say, Valerie, you can do this. God has equipped you for this. And not negating what people were telling me about what he's given me, but I had to get to that point to realize that. And that took, I think I came to that realization when it was COVID, because now I'm in the house. I'm not like both of these ladies. I didn't say how I ran around and did everything under the sun, because being an author, being a speaker, being a this, being a that. And this gave me the opportunity to sit down and mind my own business and look inside of what's going on inside of me, to realize who I am and whose I am and what he has given me. So I would say believing in myself, believing that I am the expert, and finding my voice, and believing that for myself, not because of what others say, but believing that for myself, and God telling me that this is what I am here to do.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am, as I said a few minutes ago, I am utterly encouraged and challenged, and you guys have stepped on all 10 of my toes for things that I know that I still have left to do. I as we're kind of coming to a close, I do want to, put out there, if there are any more questions, please put them in the comment section in the chat. But what does success look like to you? Like if God were to show you more peekaboo moments, what does success look like to you?
For myself, success looks like to me, and just you saying it, like there's so much like literally running through my head right now, but I feel like I would still be a servant unto the Lord. However, I feel like successfully, I would be able to serve on a greater level. Success would allow me not only the platform, but the finances to be able to serve on a greater level. Because, for myself, ultimately, with my husband and I and the different ministries and businesses that we have, they all cater to the well-being of someone else.
Mhm.
Is not so much what it's going to do for, Mark and I, but, the other thing is I want to make sure that there's a legacy left for my children, of course, and my grandchildren whenever they come forth. But, it's basically for the betterment of others, for the building of the kingdom, and just making sure that, lives are really changed. Not just saying they change, but lives are really impacted and really changed. That's what success looks like for me. Being able to bless not one family, not one married couple, but like thousands and thousands of married couples. Not just being able to bless our youth on a small scale of maybe, here in Philadelphia, but internationally, being able to bless the young people, and then, I have a passion and I love my seniors, but because I feel like a lot of times they're always kind of pushed to the side and they're not really talked about much. But being able to be a blessing to those senior citizens who never had children. And so now I'm granted an opportunity where I could do something for this senior citizen who never had a child. So whatever I could do to even feel like, okay, you may not never have a daughter, but okay, I'll be your daughter for today. That's what success looks like for me. Making people happy, making them forget all about all their troubles and problems and things of that nature. But ultimately, once they receive the blessings, that they don't focus on that it came from me, but it was the God working in and through me, so that, yes, God got the glory out of that, because now, not only did they receive the blessing, not only are they happy about the blessing, but now they're giving God glory for the blessing. So to me, that's what success looks like.
Awesome.
I guess for me, I ditto Chrysal, but it's about the leaving a legacy, and not just a financial legacy, but a spiritual legacy, that my children and my children's children know the Lord, get the foundation. I'm a PK kid, so that they know that, and that even with the property that we have in Michigan, I'm putting money into it to make sure that it can stay in the family. I know as long as I live, it will never be sold. And I know my children have gotten the mantra that they better keep it in the family too. But to just pass down the legacy of my parents, how, so that someone down the road won't say, property on the beach, oh, I'm gonna, no, they need to know what this means to our family and keep it in the family. And, you know, do what they need to do to keep it up and do what they need to do. So just being a blessing and keeping our legacy moving forward.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
For me, success, you know, I concur with both of these ladies. And my legacy has started already because my kids are in business with me. The building that I have has afforded us, you know, a very large building. So my daughter is a designer and she is in the loft of the building. My son, which is my son-in-law, but I call him my son, is a photographer. So he's in one part of the building. And then my business is in another part. But like Chrysal, I just want to be able, when someone has a need, that I can supply it. You know, if I can be at a store and someone doesn't have enough money to pay for their groceries, pay for their groceries. And I don't want anything for it. I just want to do it. And, you know, for me as a domestic violence survivor, to be able to have a place to come to my building until we can get you to the proper place, you know, but you have a place to come, you have a safe place to come, and we're able to take you to that next step until, you know, because sometimes when you call the shelters and the different outreach places, they're full, and then that deters them a little bit, and they might go back to their abuser. So I want to be able to have a place for them to come and feel safe and then be able to move to the next step. So mine is just like Chrysal. I just want to be able to give back, you know, and pay it forward. And I do that as often as I can. It might not be, you know, a lot of money, but it is giving back, and people appreciate it. You know, I let people use my building, you know, new entrepreneurs. You know, I have a yoga person coming in. I have someone who wants to do massage because I don't want to do massage anymore. You know, giving these people the opportunity for them to move forward. So that's, you know, that's success for me.
That is awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. I right now I feel like I'm having success because ultimately, like I said in the beginning, our mission is to connect community and people to their purpose, and so being able to connect people, being able to let people know what's out there for them is just another way of making connection, because there are people who believe that they're by themselves and that they don't know where to go or have an avenue to turn to. And so knowing that there is a Millicent Davis, Valerie Stansel, a Chrysal Pittman that's out there that not only went on a journey to get where they are, but their hearts are open to bring somebody else along. And so right now, this is the epitome of success, although I mirror what you ladies are saying as well, you know, to be able to do more of that, and not just, you know, from this platform, but also behind the scenes. We do a lot of things behind the scenes where people don't know, and frankly, that's been fine and it's okay. But I want to be able to do more of that. So this is just, and I don't know why I'm all choked up right now, but I'm kind of a waterhead a little bit, but so I am completely grateful for you ladies saying yes, for sharing your story, for being available, for encouraging other women, and for what you do. And for what you're going to do. So for the last few minutes, we are going to make sure that people have your information so they know how to get your books, know how to get connected with you if they want to utilize any of your services. So we'll play those slides after we're done. But if you want to take these last couple minutes and just any final words, let people know how they can reach you. But again, we'll make that information available, but just in case they don't go back, I don't want them to walk away with not knowing how to connect with you. So, okay.
You can connect with me. I have a page on Facebook. It is called Purposed for Wellness. That is my business. And then there is also author Valerie Stansel. And you can contact me at valerie@purposedforwellness.com. You can also reach me at 856-314-8693. And I'm here to help you in any way that I can. And I, again, thank you for having me on this panel. Thank you for, I didn't know you, Chrysal. You're an awesome, awesome woman. I wish you the best success. And Millicent, you know how I feel about you. Thank you all so, so much.
Thank you.
Oh, I just want to say one thing. And I just want to say, my name is Valerie Stansel. I am your Purpose for Wellness navigator. My purpose is your wellness. Thank you.
You can reach, my name is Millicent Davis. You can reach me at millicentdavis.com with Taking Control of Your Destiny, or our business website, KMD Business Consultants with an S.com, as well as our phone number is 856-318-9034. And I want to thank Tiffany for inviting me. I was so excited to be part of PH 360 and to meet Chrysal and to reconnect with Valerie and just to see where she's at. Oh my God, the growth, and it was a good day. I enjoyed myself tremendously. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And yes, I too am very, very excited and glad to have met you, Valerie, as well as Millicent. I will make sure that I get your information and we will stay connected because I believe in divine connections. And, you know, we owe that honor to my Tiff. I'm so grateful for her. She knows, like, we call ourselves sisters from another mother, although we've called one another mother's mom. That's what we call the one another's was mom. And, you know, but I'm so proud, you know, I don't want to say that I'm proud of her. I want to say, Tiffany, I am proud of you. I'm so excited and happy that you were obedient to what the Lord was saying to you as it relates to PW 360. I'm really happy that you finally said yes and did what the Lord told you to do as it relates to Tiffany, because Tiffany also wears a lot of hats and she's always, you know, that's something her and I do. We're always we're the biggest cheerleaders of everybody else. And, you know, just to be able to see her move on, you know, in this platform at this time and season in her life, I'm so, so happy and very, very proud of you. And, you know, Lord knows I love you dearly. And I'm going to say, you know, keep on doing what you're doing. And again, I am Chrysal Pittman. You can reach me as it relates to if it's ministry, like marriage ministry. My husband and I, we're also elders. You can reach me. My email is teammcpittman. That's teammcpittman@gmail.com. Or you can reach me at SAFE, SAFE, the number 2, trust, safe2trust@gmail.com. And I give out my number because I just, you know, my number is 215-399-7034. I have a lot of people say, well, you know, that's your cell. But my thing is, just like Jesus was accessible, I feel like we need to be accessible in the body of Christ. I know how to not answer if I'm busy. I know how to put on do not disturb if I am busy. So it's not like you're taking away from me because I give you my cell number. What it is, I'm allowing myself to be accessible to you. And you know, so that's really my reason for giving out myself. I don't have a problem with doing that, because I know at the end of the day, I'm an advocate for no and amen. A lot of people say yes and amen. I'm an advocate for no and amen. So it's not a problem. But again, you know, like I said, Valerie, kudos to you and to Millicent. I am so looking forward to behind the scenes, us being able to connect. And you know, when this thing lifts up, this disrespect from COVID-19, you know, hopefully we can come together and physically embrace one another, you know. But yeah, it's been great. Thank you for having me, Tiffany. And yes, I enjoyed this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, thank you, ladies. Much appreciative. We will make sure that everyone can stay connected or has your information so that they can reach out to you. And so this has been a joy and a pleasure to speak with you guys today. And I hope all of our listeners, those who tuned in today, those who will tune in at a later time and watch these videos later, I pray that you get out of it as much as I did. I don't know if God uses these for my personal growth and development, but I always walk away more empowered than I did when I started. So you help me if no one else. If you have not subscribed to our or liked our Facebook page, we are PW360. We are on Facebook as well as Instagram. We are developing our YouTube channel so that these videos can continue to live. We will continue to meet the last Saturday of every month for Pull Up to the Table. Our information is Kingsway intl7@gmail.com, or you can reach us on our website, which is Kingsway, KINGSWAYINT.org. And so we're always serving the community. That's what we do. And it's really all about empowering other people. So I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. And I am grateful for your time. You have a great day. Oh, my husband always gets me. We have our shirts, PW360 shirts that are available. He gets me if I don't, you know, make sure that people know that we have things available. That's his job to remind me. But if you need us, contact us and we will be there. So I thank you and you have an awesome, awesome day.